It's a real tragedy that we're having to contend with lately. All the innocent people who have been killed by police, and likewise, all of the police being killed recently here in Dallas. Now, there's a real controversy. There's a bunch of hullabaloo in anarchist circles about the justification of killing police. And I wanted to try to process a little bit of this, because there's a lot to process and a lot of information to go through concerning these incidents. And what I've gathered as a trend or a theme among some anarchist leaders in our community is that even we as a whole don't seem to justify the killing of random police officers in order to avenge people who have been killed or murdered, especially recently in Minnesota, and then the case with Alton Sterling. But by the same token, there are a few anarchists who seem to revel in the death of these police officers. And I'm taking the position right now that I do not want to celebrate death. I do not want to celebrate a seeming revolutionary act that is bathed in blood, that is going to bring more blood and more chaos and more authority and more government into our lives. As a compassionate and relational anarchist, I have to keep the relationalist ethic in mind. I have to consider that hatred, anger, violence, and various forms of attack are antithetical positions to peace, to love and decency. And I also want to keep this idea in mind about loving my enemy, having compassion for my enemy. It is true. The state is not our friend. It's not my friend. And the institutions therein are not ones that I agree with from a relational, from a moral, or from a practical standpoint. But by the same token, arbitrary violence, lashing out, playing the game that the rulers play is not going to vindicate the push for freedom. It's certainly not going to cause the state to loosen its grip. Quite to the contrary. And this goes to anarchists and non-anarchists, because I'm not saying that the act committed in Dallas was an act committed by an anarchist. That is likely not the case, although propaganda will try to tell us otherwise. But I just want to let everybody know that violence is not the answer. It is not what's going to set us free. What's going to set us free is love and being able to promote that even toward our enemies. And peaceful forms of resistance, of disobedience, are what I believe are going to move the dial forward. And I tend to agree with Gandhi, this idea of satyagraha, of peaceful resistance, peaceful nonviolence, and other acts of dispersion are what are going to help us get ourselves out of this entanglement of statism. So I'm really here just to generate love. I'm asking that people can try to control the anger and the hatred. I definitely empathize with you, and I understand where the rage comes from, especially since a lot of these individuals who wear badges and costumes have a tendency to hurt other people as a part of their job. But compassion, real love, does not leave out our enemies. It does not leave out the people who we perceive as doing bad toward us. Real compassion, real love is also dedicated to those who we see or deem as evil. So hopefully you can receive my compassionate message, keep the relationalist ethic in mind, and the tried and true idea that love is not only reserved for your friends and neighbors, it's reserved for everyone. It's something that we embody. And I just want to let you guys know that I love every one of you, and not necessarily in an intimate kind of way, but in a wholesome beingness kind of way. And I hope this is the direction that we can all try to take in producing more freedom in our lifetime, and stopping or sidetracking an all-out war that just ends in more violence, more statism, more control. My name is Sterling, and I'm with the Relationalist and the Compassionate Anarchist communities, and I thank you for your time.